What's up, guys? Apex here, and welcome to my Mistsong Banquet beginner's guide slash build guide. This is the latest instance we've gotten, and I like it here. So I thought I would help out people if they want to try it out but not mastering it, or they're completely new to it. So I made this beginner guide slash build guide, and this one is very special compared to the other instances we have. That's a part of the reason why I like it so much. In other instances, you usually end up fighting each other or fighting some boss or some a bunch of mobs and such. You do that in here too, but you do it with strategy and special skills. So it's very different from what you're used to, I would say. And I was kind of skeptical to it in the start, but after trying it out, I really like it because I'm a planner. I like to strategize and such. And yeah, this was a nice little addition for myself. I'm gonna apologize in advance because I assume this, like all my other how-to videos, will end up becoming pretty long. In my defense, though, it's usually because I like to make my videos very thorough, so I will try to cover everything I can. And yeah, it just has to become somewhat long. But to help you out a little bit, if you don't want to watch each part of it, I've parted it up into 3 parts. The first part here is gonna be the beginner's guide. I'm gonna explain all the basic stuff about this dungeon, and then the second part will be a build guide. I'm gonna explain how I planned it out when I made my build, and I'm gonna showcase my build. And thirdly, I will do a run through it of wave 1 to 20. So I'll have to wait until I get a pug team for that. But yeah, let's get started with the first part, I guess. Like I said, this is an arena instance, so you queue up. You can be 6 people in here. If you've ever done the free-for-all arena, you might recognize the design here, because you have 3 lanes, as we call it, and at the end of each lane here, there will be a world gate that's spawning mobs. Once you start it here hitting a gong, and once you start it, it's not gonna stop until you either lose or you've beaten it. So make sure you're ready before you start. So once it starts spawning mobs, they will walk in a straight line and try to get to the middle here to destroy a statue. It looks like a Nuis Nova statue, I guess. Nuis Nova is a potion. I don't know what's the new statue called. The respawn statue. It will be like that in the middle here, and the mobs will try to get to it. And here's where it's very special. You're supposed to stop those mobs using a setup of cannons of your choosing, as well as using these special skills. You cannot use your normal skills. You cannot aggro these mobs. These mobs will never go for you, so you will never be killed in here. They're not gonna go for you. So you're just supposed to make a good enough plan, a good enough setup here with the cannons and using the special skills you have here to stop those mobs from coming, because they will just go in a straight line towards the middle here. There are 20 waves in here, and it will become progressively harder. As you see now, we're at 18 of 20. At 20 you beat it. I was just here for funsies now with a pug group and such. There will be different mobs coming, and those mobs will have different strengths and weaknesses, different buffs and such. I'm throwing up a screenshot of it here if you want to see all those buffs. It's something I will get back to, though. Another thing is that the further you get, the more waves you manage to do, the better the reward will be. A lot of people like to just go to wave 10 because you get 1,000 labor potion there, and that takes only 5 to 10 minutes, so that's a pretty good deal, I would say. I'm throwing up a screenshot of the exact rewards if you're interested for that. yeah, like I said, you queue here with 6 people. As you see, there are 3 lanes, so as a norm, you end up being 2 people in each lane. You are here with other people though as a team. You're not competing against each other, so if one lane is weaker while yours is doing better, you could go over and help them, either help them build a little bit, help them DPS a little bit, or just just help them out the different ways you know how to. There are 2 different roles in here you might have heard. You heard people talking about builder and DPS, and I will explain exactly what that is. The builder is responsible for setting up the design you see here. All the cannons here are being spawned and carefully picked by the builder, and they will be upgraded by the builder, and that's what the builder is supposed to do. The builder can also help DPS if you're a fast builder, like most people have gotten to this point. You do have time to DPS as well, so it's a bit misleading to just call it builder. You're not supposed to just set up the cannons and then stand there and watch as mobs walk past you. You should help out in DPS, but yeah, they just call it builder for simplicity's sake. And then you have the DPS role, which is basically there to support the builder. He's there to mainly DPS the mobs, but also go on little errands and stuff. There are a few gathering tasks around here. It is suggested that you only have one builder, unless you're 2 friends on TeamSpeak or Discord or whatever, and having talked it over what you want. Because basically, if you have 2 random builders, they will most likely not have the same setup in mind, and if both of them start trying to make their build, they'll probably end up ruining it for each other. Another thing is that you could end up having just 2 DPS, and who none of which know how to build in one lane, and then you'll really be in trouble. So yeah, usually when we come out here, when I lead my own raids, I tell the people, okay, who can build and who can DPS? Everyone can be a builder or DPS. It's just about for a builder you need a knowledge, and DPS it helps to have the DPS. Let me talk a little bit about that. This is a gear score independent dungeon to some degree. Since the mobs don't attack you here, anything defensive and stuff, it doesn't matter at all. But there are several offensive stats that do matter. Stats like crit damage, cast time, and I'm wondering about attack speed, because I don't have any character with a lot of it, so I haven't been able to test that. But yeah, my ult, for instance, who is a full mage DPS, he deals a fair bit more damage to the mobs than my main here. And my main has a higher gear score and stuff, but my main is completely spec'd into defensive stuff. So what separates my main and my ult? Well, my ult's crit rate, crit damage, cast time. Like I said, I haven't been able to check attack speed because I don't have that. So yeah, it's somewhat gear score independent. So my main here is going to be weaker than my ult, since defense doesn't matter. Healers also drew the short straw here, because they're not going to be able to deal the DPS as a DPS would. A DPS is really the best thing to be here. A glass cannon, to be clear. Anyone with a glass cannon builds with just a lot of offensive effects, he's gonna do the best here. Tanks and healers are obviously also welcome here. What I would suggest they do is you assign them to the there's some other roles, not other roles, but there are some other tasks that need doing here, and I suggest you assign basically your low DPS people to that. That means your tank, your healer, and any low gear score people, really. So yeah, let's talk about the skills you have to your use here. Like I said, your crit and crit damage and that stuff helps you, so you should choose the skill that is best for you. These are just very basic skills. Shoot arrow here is obviously for archers. Melee attack is for melees. Flame bolt and ice bolt are both for mages. I'm not sure why they got two, but you can use all of them as any role really. If a melee wants to use an ice bolt, that's fine. He just won't deal much damage with it. But yeah, the mage here has this one as its damage dealer, and then ice bolt as a CC effect, because it slows down the enemy. And the fifth skill here is one you use on cannons. I'm gonna show you real fast now. If I target a cannon here now and use this skill, it starts a channeling effect that makes that cannon stronger while you're doing it. A lot of people think it just makes it stronger, so I've seen them run around and like buff it like this, just go cannon to cannon and buff them. That's not how it works. You have to actually buff it while it's shooting the mobs here. So it's a ongoing skill. So basically you're taking yourself out of the fight if you're doing that. But that's something a lower gear score person could do, or a tank or a healer. So yeah, let's talk about the different roles here. Specifically, like I said, a builder is here to build. So what does it look like when the fight starts? Well, there will be a gong in the middle here. That will be the one starting the fight. You have to talk to this guy to get a mission from him. It's very important you pick up the mission before you hit the gong, because I'm pretty sure this guy disappears when you hit the gong, so he won't be there for the fight. So you have to take that before you start the fight. Then you assign the different people to different places, ask if they're ready, you hit the gong, and as the builder you run to your lane then together with your DPS. So how to work these cannons. I'm gonna go to the one I used this round, this one, because I left one empty. As you can see here, the stationary cannon here is what it's gonna look like in the start. I left this one untouched just so I could showcase what it looks like and such. So yeah, as the builder, you're supposed to pick up something called dimensional crystals. At the start of each wave, 3 of these crystals will spawn in front of the cannons here at each lane. So each lane gets 3 of them. Each one of these has to be gathered, which takes a few seconds to do, and they only stay up for like 10-15 seconds, so you have to be on point. You shouldn't be far off helping someone else or DPSing in front when these spawn, because then you won't get them all. You have to be close to them when they spawn. So what you do once they spawn, you start gathering them. You take the first one, second one, third one. Each one of them will have 10 crystals in them. And you use these crystals to both summon a cannon as well as upgrade it. I will go through the basics of the different cannons and what they do and such. I will not talk build in this part of it. Another way to get resources is by random chance. You see these pillars around here. They will end up having different crystals spawn on them. On the map, it will show it just before it happens. It will show like a yellow marker there. So if I saw, like, I'm constantly looking at that, and I think a good gatherer, whatever they want to call it, some call it a flyer, some call it a gatherer, whatever, he should be on point with that. Like, I'm used to solo laning, which means doing all the roles by myself. So I'm very vigilant with the map. I'm constantly looking at it, and if I see a yellow marker on one of these pillars, I start flying there right away, because the yellow marker will show before it spawns, a few seconds before it spawns. So you simply fly over and fetch it. These crystals work differently than the ones starting at the start here, because the crystal at the start here you have to spend a few seconds to gather. These ones you just have to touch. If you fail to hit it, or if you fall down, there's a ladder in the back here, so the clumsy people can get up. But it also is quite okay if you just use a glider here. Because, like I said, you just have to touch it, so even if I was to fall down from this place, like just fall down there, I would have touched it and that's enough. Another thing is that if you do fall down, if you hug the column like this, stand as close as you can, and you use a Magithopter glider, and just fly up like that, most of the time I will have touched it enough there to take it. Those crystals also give 10 each, the blue ones that is. Then you have the red ones that will also spawn. It's like a 50-50 chance, I guess. The red ones will buff your damage for 5 minutes, and is something you might wanna let your DPS take instead. this is like a gathering job. Like the main roles here are builder and DPS, but who's gonna go around gathering and such? That's up to the two of you. There's no clear answer for it. Like I said, when I solo lane, I do it all. I build a DPS, I gather. It's just about being fast and time efficient with it. But yeah, many people have the DPS do that, or as I would suggest, have the lowest DPS do it. So if a tank or a healer or low gear score person is here, I suggest that he takes on the roles that will make his DPS matter less. So first of all, I would say that a DPS in here should no, I'm sorry, a builder in here, a person. God damn it, sorry. A person who has low DPS, like a tank, a healer, or a low gear score person. I suggest a person like that take on the non-DPS roles in here, which for one would be building. So if you have no DPS, I would recommend learning how to build, because then you'd spend some time doing that. A second thing would be that the builder can also be the gatherer, although I wouldn't recommend that the builder is the one picking up the red crystals, because they increases the damage of the person who gets it. It's just a suggestion. Like he can go for the blue crystals at least. You take one look, oh, it's a blue crystal, I'll go for that. And if it's a red crystal, you leave it to your DPS. That's up to each team to decide though. The third thing you can do as a low DPS would be to spam the buff skill you have here as number 5. It's best used if you use it on the strongest possible cannon. So don't use it on a frost cannon, for instance. Don't use it on non-fully upgraded cannons. Use it on like the strongest cannons you have. And also if the mobs say, okay, the next wave of mobs will take less physical damage, then you should go buff a magical cannon, obviously. And the last but not least, the thing a low DPS can do in here would be to use the ice ball skill. And like I said, an archer can use it, a melee can use it, a mage can use it, a healer can use it. Doesn't really matter who uses it, because this one doesn't really deal damage. It's for the CC effect. And basically what you want to do is help out your DPS and help out your cannons kill mobs. So you're trying to just freeze the mobs and slow them. So basically, any low DPS, I suggest take on the non-DPS roles in here and leave the real DPS to the ones that have crit and crit damage and such. And regarding the red crystals here, like I said, that's a 5-minute damage buff you get on you. That's renewable and stackable. You can stack it, what was it, 20 times? It gives you more damage for 5 minutes, and if you pick up a new one, that timer gets renewed. So if you had 30 seconds left on it and picked up a new one, you would get 5 minutes again, and it would have stacked to level 2. So yeah, that's what I suggest the low gear score, the tanks and the healer do, like they take on the different roles. But yeah, you're gonna end up doing DPS as well. Like I said, I can solo lane, so I do all the roles. But yeah, back to how you build. Because DPS is pretty straightforward. You spam whatever appropriate skill is here. As far as the gathering goes, you just agree on that with the builder and DPS relation. They just agree on that. Okay, who's gonna go get that stuff? Like I said, I suggest the red crystals should go to the highest DPS, and the low crystals, the lower DPS could go get. So yeah, how to be the builder. I will get back to exactly how or which cannons to choose and such and what they do, but I will go through the most basic stuff. Like I said, you start with these stationary cannons. These aren't gonna do anything. This is a cannon stand. It can be summoned a cannon on, but what's doing right here does nothing. Once you have collected crystals, you head up to a cannon like so. You'll have two options. You'll have the option to summon automatic cannon. That's a physical cannon. And you have the option to summon a magic cannon, which obviously is a magic cannon. You choose one of these, and after which will give you multiple subtypes to choose between, because this will spawn the most default cannon. So let's spawn a physical cannon. This will cost 10 crystals. As you see, I just consumed 10 crystals. Now I have an automatic cannon. This will just shoot normal physical projectiles, I guess. You then want to choose a subtype of which type of cannon it should be, like which type of physical cannon it should be. From here you have the rapid cannon and the shock shell cannon. The rapid cannon is a single target, fast shooting type of cannon, while the shock shell is AoE type cannon with slightly less range and slightly less damage, but like I said, it's AoE plus it cancels dimensional barrier and periodically stuns targets. So it's a bit of a CC cannon as well as a buff purge cannon, so it has several uses. The shock shell cannon is amongst the most popular cannons for good reason. So let's say and it will cost you 10 more crystals to go to one of these. So let's take the shock shell cannon. I've now used 20 crystals to get this far. First I got the choice between physical and magical, and then after I chose a physical cannon I had 2 more choices. And this one has been summoned with a magic cannon, and then that one also will have 2 choices. But you can swap between them, so let me showcase them all. This is the shock shell cannon, as I've already explained what is. You can change it to a rapid cannon, and this is free, by the way. Converting between the different types is free. Or I could go back to a shock shell cannon. So yeah, these are the 2 physical cannons. Had you chosen a magical cannon, you would have gotten the options of flame cannon and frost cannon. The flame cannon is an AoE magic damage cannon with slightly shorter range than the frost cannon here, which is a single target CC cannon. So yeah, so far you have 4 different types of cannons, right? I'm not counting the default ones, because you're never gonna see anyone just spawn the normal cannon. You'll never see a default magic or default physical cannon. You always want to pick a special cannon. So these you can change between. You can change between magical, you can change between physical, and you can change between the different types of magical and physical. So these you can always change. So what can you do further than that? Well, you can upgrade these cannons. If you see, some of these cannons have these stars, what are we gonna call them? They have 8 levels that you can upgrade. This you also use crystals for. So if I ran up to the cannon, it gives me the different choices of changing which type it is. But if I go up to the crystal ball next to the cannon, it will then give me the option to upgrade that cannon. So to zoom in here so it's just perfectly clear, here I just spent 10 crystals to upgrade it to the first tier, the first level, whatever you call it. You can keep upgrading it all the way until level 8. It will keep costing more crystals. Like the first ones will cost 10, 10, 10, 10, and at some point it costs 20, and at some point it costs 30. I think it's only the last one that costs 30. A fully upgraded cannon looks like this. As you see, this flame cannon has been taking all the way to level 8. Once you hit level 8, the crystal ball changes from blue to red. If you go up to it now, you can't upgrade any further, with the normal way at least, and it has you choose 2 different types here. You can leave it be as it is, but you can also choose fuck, we're running out of time. You can also choose to pick one of these types. These are like special cannon. This is a magic single target cannon, and this is the thunder cannon, which is basically a shock shell cannon but with slightly more damage and range. So you have the default, you start out with the default physical and magical. Those have 2 subtypes to them each. That makes it 4, and all of them can go to one of these and this one will cost 10 crystals to upgrade after it's level 8. So here I'll take this one up to a thunder cannon. As you can see, this is then a thunder cannon, which then again can be converted to a laser cannon or back to a thunder cannon. They cannot go back down after you've taken them to their special mode, or whatever you want to call it, their final form. You can only convert them between the two of them. Okay, I feel I've talked about all the building, all the gathering, DPS rolls. Is there anything left here? Have I covered everything? I'm gonna get kicked out any moment. But yeah, like I said, you build, you gather, you DPS the mobs, you try to stop them from getting to the middle here to destroy the statue, and if you can, you'll be rewarded based on how far you got. You then go up to this officer and pick up your quest. Like you have to turn in the quest there. So you have to both pick up the quest from him and as well as turn it in at him, and then you exit from the large portal that's been there this entire time since I was there. I was thrown out now because I started doing this video after we had finished it, so I was like on the overtime, but it throws you out after X amount of time here. So yeah, I hope I explained everything enough. Got a bit rushed in the end, but yeah, I think I got everything, and I hope so. And again, sorry if it became a bit long. I just like being very thorough about it and such. So yeah, as you can see here, Mistsong Banquet, you get 5 other people with you. You register it, and you queue up, and you go to this world between worlds, like instances work now. Oh, and you get some rewards then and there. I think you get the honor and the labor right away, but then you get a mail afterwards from the Crimson Watch here based on your performance. I think the highest is rank 6. So yeah, that's all of it. I hope I covered everything, and let's move to step or stage number 2 in my video. And here we are at stage 2, in which I will talk about the build I plan to go over here, and maybe more importantly, why I intend to go with the build. Because I think there's a lot of people with a very strong opinion about what is the meta builds in here. The same way as it is with PvP builds. I've been told many years that my Doomlord build is stupid. But yeah, I like making my own builds and creating something from scratch, and if that ends up being a weird build, then so be it. If it ends up being one of the meta builds, and whatever, I just want to make it from scratch. So I did the same thing in here. I really like strategy. I like planning and such. So yeah, as you can see, I've spent some time on this already and really planned how I wanted a setup to be. And I'm not gonna say that what other people have suggested for me or yelled at me, oh, you should have this, that those wouldn't have worked. I'm just saying that being hung up on a single build being the perfect build, that's just wrong. Because I've completed Wave 20 with a bunch of different builds at this point. But it seems a lot of people have watched the same YouTube video of a guy getting to level 20, or they've read the same Reddit post of a guy getting to level 20, and they've kind of just adopted that, and they see that as the one build that works. Because I've seen it so many times that people have yelled at me, or they yelled at each other in here. No, that cannon goes over there, and no, that goes over there, and why the fuck did you put that there? Because I think it's a lot like with PvP builds. You can make a lot of different things work. Sure, there's gonna be some things that won't work as well, like having only one type of damage, because like I showed you in the screenshot earlier, at some point there will come mobs that take a lot less damage from one type of damage, one type of damage. So I think it is smart to have different types of damage to counter that. But yeah, I'm just gonna showcase the build I am currently playing around with. and it's a build I've tweaked a fair bit, tried to improve upon. I've completed Wave 20 a bunch of times with different builds, but I guess this one is my favorite so far, and I want to explain why I've made the choices that I have made. Because sure, if you just want to copy paste the build from a YouTube video or Reddit post or whatever, go ahead. This is just for those of you that maybe are like myself and want to try making your own build. So instead of just showing you, okay, I use these cannons here, these cannons there, okay, go ahead and copy it. I'm going to explain why I'm making the choices I am, and then you can either agree, disagree, and maybe you can tweak it yourself, make it better. I don't know. I don't know that this build has reached its peak. Maybe I've made some mistakes in my calculations here and such. But yeah, I'm just trying to be creative about it and trying to inspire others to be creative if you think that's something you would like. Alright? So, much like a football coach before a game, okay. Okay, got a little thrown off here. I'm like a football coach before a game. I have taken a picture of the arena here, and I will explain. Or I think it's at least a little easier for me to explain if I can use X's and O's and stuff before the big match. So I'll be using this screenshot, draw on a little bit, and I'll be using the December patch notes where they introduced the Mistsong Banquet. This one has two things that are important. It's what the cannons do exactly, which I already gone through a fair bit in the first part, but I will brush up a little on it, make some references while I do this. And the second part is the monsters you're gonna encounter and their special abilities. Also something I linked on the screen, but yeah, these are the two things I will be using as reference to make my build here. So, like I said, I already kind of covered this a fair bit, so I'm gonna start with the debuffs here, because basically, what stops you from just placing different cannons all over the place? Well, that's what I'm gonna try to answer now. Basically, I'm gonna go through the patch notes here a little bit and point out a few things that does help limit things a little bit. Why I think specific cannons should be on specific places, and like I said, you can agree or disagree on it. That's up to you. I just want to show you what I was thinking when I made this. Alright, the first buff here is a pretty strong one. Some mobs can get dimensional barrier, immunity to most damage. I assume that means the mobs coming in having some kind of shield on them that has to be well, it mitigates most of the damage. However, because as you can see on one of the later ones here, this one reduces damage from ranged mobs, this reduces from magic attacks, but this one does it to all types of damage. So can you just should you just accept it, or can you do something about it? Well, actually two of the cannons can do something about it. You see, the shock shell cannon for some reason has a lot of nice things to it. It has AoE damage and it has cancels the dimensional barrier buff, and it has a chance to stun. So the shock shell cannon is really a good fucking cannon. And then you have its, I would call it the upgraded version, because it's physical damage, it's AoE, and it has a chance to decrease dimensional barrier buff as well as an AoE stun. So yeah, you have the shock shell cannon and a thunder cannon, which can, I'm gonna call it purge, because it has a chance to remove the dimensional barrier buff. So I'm gonna say that those two cannons can purge this. So that makes me think that those two cannons, or one of those two cannons at least, should come in the very beginning. Because if you had them later on here, basically what would happen, I assume, would be that the mobs came through here and your 5 first cannons or whatever, attack them, dealt next to no damage, and those mobs wouldn't lose that buff until they came to the thunder or shock shell cannons down here. So I think it would be smart to engage that and remove that buff early on within the 4 first cannons here. And I do think you should have more than one. I would say at least 2. They do hit in an AoE, so maybe one is hitting them all and one is fine, but I'm gonna go with 2, I believe. So yeah, that's one limitation or one suggestion on what should come at a specific place. I'll repeat it again. I plan to put shock shell and thunder or thunder in the beginning here. So that's one thing, one limitation or one tip you can have. Let's see, freeze immunity against freezing effects. That's not really something you do too much about. Like, you can micromanage and turn those freezing cannons into damage type cannons when it happens. I don't really care for it, so I just try harder when it happens. Dash makes them faster. That's a good reason to have frost cannons, so I will definitely have frost cannons. And then you have range damage reduction and magic damage reduction. So basically, again, if you wanted to micromanage, you could turn your physical cannons into magical cannons when they were getting this buff, and vice versa with this buff. That's again something I don't really care to do. I just have a healthy mix between the 2 damage types, and that seems to work out. See, flooding, monsters will fill an entire one path. That means they will only come from one lane. That's not something you have to really plan for. You will just see that either your lane gets a ton of mobs or you get 0 mobs, and then you take a look around and you'll see that one of your teammates will have a lot more mobs, so you just go over there and help them. It's not more complicated than that. Mobbing, more monsters appear on each path. Again, not really something that limits where you place cannons or anything. You just make a normal setup. And lastly, bosses, stronger and harder to kill monsters. I guess that could be, because there are very few of these, so that could be an argument for single target cannon, I guess. I've not found these to be very strong though, so I don't think so. My setup, except the frost cannons, which I use for CC, not for damage, my setup is entirely AoE based. I don't use single target, because most of the time, there are enough mobs that I feel AoE is warranted, and I guess it's only when the bosses are there that it makes sense to have single target. But yeah, I'm not going to micromanage that. So yeah, going from that, we have some some limitations slash ideas and tips on where to put specific things. So like I said to begin with, I would want to have shock shell or thunder cannons early on to remove that debuff they can get. I would like to have like roughly half and half with physical and magical, so none of the two other debuffs that could come would totally fuck me over. If you want to micromanage and just swap between them, that's fine. It's up to you. I don't really bother with it though. Let's see. And another thing I also like doing is I don't like having the same cannon. I should say I don't like having the same frost cannons lined up, like having these 2 for instance be frost cannons or these 2 for instance be frost cannons, because what happens when you do that is that they end up shooting the same mob. Let's say there were multiple mobs coming here, there were 3 mobs coming there. Both these frost cannons would then shoot the first mob, and as far as I can tell, it doesn't stack, it doesn't make it super slow. So yeah, I go with a zigzag pattern, although that really fucks with my OCD, which would very much like for this to be very neat. But yeah, strategically speaking, it seems like zigzag for frost cannons is the way to go, because then those cannons don't end up focusing on the same mob. Because what happens if you have it like this, the first cannon will start shooting at the first mob, and yeah, the second cannon, frost cannon, will most likely start shooting at the first mob as well, but that mob will die, and once that mob dies, these two will aim at, I guess, whatever is closest, which will oftentimes be different mobs, so they don't just end up shooting the same mob over and over and over. So yeah, although it's not as good for my OCD, it's I do think it's a smart thing to do. Let's see what else. I like to have. Let's talk about range. The highest upgraded cannons have longer range than the lower tier cannons, which means I think it's kind of a waste to have the fully upgraded cannons here. Because unless I'm mistaken, the normal cannons, normal flame cannon or normal rapid fire cannon, they already reach where the mobs are spawning. So I feel it's a bit of a waste to have a cannon that can like overshoot, because I don't see that. Because let's say I had a shock shell cannon there and a shock shell cannon there. Which one would I take up to thunder? I would take this one up to thunder. This one. Because then this one could actually utilize that range. Well, this one doesn't really need that range. You get it? Another place where I think it's smart to have a range cannon, like that's where here I don't want to have a range cannon or extra range cannon there. A place where I think it's smart to have a range cannon, extra range rather, is at the other end, because you can see it in the screenshot here. But basically, if mobs get through your entire defense and they end up getting to the statue in the middle, these two cannons will be the only ones with range. And then I'm not 100% certain that I'm not 100% certain that they have to be the last tier to have that range to shoot them. Maybe they can. I don't think they can be hit by flame, for instance. Flame is too short range. I'm not sure about shock shell either, but probably rapid fire or frost, stuff like that. But yeah, that's something I keep in mind. I try to have longer range cannons here, because if, like I said, if mobs get through and they start hitting your statue, you want to have some cannons shooting them. If you had two short range cannons here, you would have to DPS down those mobs by yourself, like as a character. You'd have to use your character to DPS them down. You wouldn't get any cannon help. And I think it's important to have cannon help, because not only is the new thing you wanna protect, but the mobs will stand still there and attack it. So whatever cannon you have there, I do think it's smart to have a strong cannon or two to do that. Let's see. Next, I do kind of feel it's a bit of a waste to use frost at this point. Yeah, sure, a frost cannon would shoot them here and while going past them for a bit here, but basically for the same reason I would want a high damage cannon in the end here, because you're not, after the mobs have come to the statue, let's say they do come to the statue, a frost cannon ceases to be effective at all, because they've already stopped. The mobs are already standing still attacking the statue. So what's the point of slowing it? So that's something you can fit in if you want to. It's not a game breaker for sure, but I'm just trying to get my money's worth. And yeah, I think since the mobs are gonna stop up and attack the statue, a frost cannon here is wasted. It's just not gonna be effective. Yes, it will definitely freeze them here, and maybe like here-ish, but once they reach the statue, freezing the mobs, it becomes ineffective. At that point, I would rather have a shock shell cannon which both deal damage and can stun. That sounds like a good idea. And lastly, the last limitation slash tip on where to place a cannon. Hope you're writing this down because I don't want to repeat it all. Actually, I guess I could. I've been thinking long and hard about what I want in the middle, because the middle cannon, I would say, is the best cannon, or it's the best cannon spot, because the mobs will go through here. So the cannons to the sides, yes, they will hit the mob, but no cannon will hit the mob as well as the one in the middle. So you better make the one in the middle count. In my opinion, the thunder cannon is the best cannon overall. So I had that there for a while. But now I've changed my opinion on it, and let me tell you why. Basically, I went to limitations of cannons and such. And from what I can gather, all these cannons are gonna hit their mark. Like, they're either single target cannons that will just shoot the mob directly, or they're an AoE cannon that, well, it shoots an explosive onto the mob and it hits it. It's not gonna miss. What is a little bit more tricky though is the flame cannon. You see, this one shoots flames in a 30-degree fan AoE and deals AoE magic damage within 15 meters. This is the only cannon I see as limited, because if you had it on the side here, yeah, it's gonna follow the mob that's going past it. Let's see, it shoots in a 30-degree angle, whatever. And, it's gonna follow the mob that goes past it. But by doing so, it's not gonna shoot anything else really, because if you had multiple mobs here, yeah, it might hit 2, at best 3 at a time. But guess what? If it stood in the middle, you'd have, mobs coming here, and you'd have a cone AoE here, hitting multiple mobs every single time. And when it turns, because if this dot makes it around and starts going down here, it will turn and shoot this direction, which it also will hit multiple targets. So basically, whichever way it's looking, it's gonna be hitting multiple targets. So I would say that's the only cannon I would say makes the most out of being in the middle. I do think the thunder cannon is stronger than the magic than the flame cannon, but the thunder cannon is gonna hit its target no matter where you set it, really. So I think a flame cannon should go in the middle, just because it makes the most use of it. So I'm gonna try to sum it all up here. Shock shell or thunder in front to debuff that thing. Zigzag with frost cannons, so they don't hit the same target. Don't have too many of them, don't have too few of them, so you don't have too much, too little damage, or so you just seeing not doing any damage. Flame cannon in the middle. Maybe, and this is being a little stickler, but yeah, I maybe not have upgraded cannons, aka laser or thunder, as the first two cannons, because I do think normal cannons will have the range anyways, so I feel the range is a little bit wasted. And lastly, have strong cannons in the back here, at least one of them, because they're gonna be the ones that are hitting the mobs when they're hitting the statue, and I do think it's a bit of a waste to have a frost cannon there, because it won't CC that. So with all that in mind, I will try to show you like I kept all that in mind when I designed this strategy of mine, and like I said, you can agree or disagree with the stuff I've said now, and maybe tweak it and make it even better. So I'm gonna show you the setup I have made out of this, because I've now explained why I have the setup I just explained, but I'm now gonna show you what that exact setup is if you do want to copy it. Alright, so forgive me if it goes a little slow making this, because it is the latest issue I have of this setup, and I've only used it a couple of times, so I don't recall it just instantaneously. I actually do have to think about it because I've ran so many different things. Alright, I'm gonna use a few different colors to showcase what cannon I want to have there. I would say that the flame cannon should be red, right? So red circle there for flame. And like I said, I'm now gonna put together what I had in mind, simply because I think it's the way to go. You can agree or disagree or whatever. Like I said, I would start with shock shell and or thunder. That means these four. Let's zoom in a bit, of those and check those out. Make it a little easier to draw. So yeah, these should, but I also want to have CC in between. So, like I said, I don't want to have CC lined up like this, because then, in my opinion, they keep hitting the same target, and that's annoying. So zigzag. So I will have thunder cannon here. Right, different color. What would you say a thunder cannon is? Thunder is yellow, right? So let's go with. Don't they have a simpler one? Can I just? Yeah. Thunder cannon for this one, and then let's do orange for shock, because it's kind of it's very close to thunder. And like I said, the reason why I have them like that is because the thunder cannon will have a longer range than the shock shell, and I think a shock shell already can reach the mobs where they're spawning, so I feel it's a waste to use thunder cannon. Of course, if you could afford to upgrade them all, go for it, but bear in mind that you can most likely only upgrade 3 to 5 cannons all the way. At least that's what I usually end up getting, so you have to prioritize here. You have to use those 3 to 5 cannons wisely. So yeah, if you have the materials for it, go for it. Make both of these thunder, and call it a day. I would assume frost cannon should be blue, right? So like I said, CC in a zigzag here, frost cannons here, and that concludes that in the start. So I'm gonna zoom out here now. Now we're down here. What are we missing? We're missing some magic damage, so we should definitely find some room for magic damage. There are 3 magic damage cannons. Only one of them is an AoE though, which is flame. And like I said, I try to use only AoE because I wouldn't say too much of the time I end up with just single mobs, really. It's usually AoE. No, it's usually multiple mobs. So I would have, well, basically I would have at least one more flame cannon. Frost cannon does deal a little magic damage, but not too much. So I'm not gonna count that one as a damage dealer, really. Like I said though, my character is a mage, so you might want a slightly different setup. If you're a melee user, maybe you want 2 more flame turrets, or magic cannons, whatever, or maybe even 4 more. That's up to you. Did I just go from 2 to 4? You know what I mean. But yeah, since I know I'm gonna deal magic damage, I know that I can get mostly physical damage cannons. And either way, even if even if you don't have it entirely 50-50 with damage, it's only 1 or 2 waves where you will have reduced damage from magic attacks or reduced damage from range attacks. It's not going to be a lot of waves. So yeah, a couple of waves might give you problems. But yeah, I'm going to have at least one more. And like I said, the laser cannon, although good on damage, it's a single target cannon. And frost cannon is both single target and not meant for damage, so I'm thinking a flame cannon. So I want to have at least one of these will be a flame cannon. I don't know exactly which, or I know which one, but I'm just showing you how I set this up the first time. So like I said, for these two, or at least I'm looking at the ones down at the bottom now. For these two, or at least one of them, I would have arranged a very strong cannon. So I'm gonna put. Let's see if I can. No, I don't have to remake it. I can sample that yellow. So I will have a thunder cannon here. Because you need a cannon with good damage, and you need a cannon with a range. A flame cannon would not have the range. Rapid cannon I don't really like. It's single target and stuff. Laser cannon also single target, but test it out and see. If you end up if you're struggling against bosses, which usually are the only waves where there are few enough mobs to warrant single target cannons, then yeah, have a laser cannon there. But in my experience, you end up having mostly problems with several mobs. So I would have an AoE cannon there. And notice I made it a thunder cannon and not shock shell cannon, because I want to be entirely sure that this one reaches the statue. So yeah, that's why I chose shock. And now I will have, like I said, I need frost cannons, and I need one more flame turret, and I have 3 spots to go. This is where it gets tricky. I would have. I'm looking at the ones my character stands next to now. One of them should be frost, because we need the CC from it, and one of them should be the flame turret. It doesn't really matter too much which one is which. Let's see. To make it as much zigzag as possible, though, I'm gonna go with. Keep doing that. I'm gonna go with the flame one here, because that's because then you have the frost cannons as much zigzag as possible. As you see here, they go zip zip. So that one will be the next frost one. So frost there. And then the last one, I'm gonna say I'm not entirely sure about. Don't think I need more magic damage, because my character is a mage. I could get a thunder cannon, but I've kind of always gone with 4 frost cannons, and yeah, it would definitely help to have a frost cannon there, in terms of slowing the mobs down and such. So, but like I said, a frost cannon is a bit wasted if they do keep getting past you and to the statue, because a frost cannon, yes, it's gonna freeze the mobs when they're here, and here, but it's not gonna freeze them when they're all the way down at the statue. So it's gonna be useful most of the time, just not when the mobs have stopped at the statue. So I'll leave it up. I've changed these around a little bit here and there. I basically made this one whatever I felt I needed at the time, and this is the only cannon I micromanage. So I will have this one will swap between not flame, because I think I have enough flame. This one will swap between 3 different types. Thunder cannon, or Shock Shell and Thunder are basically the same cannon. So when I say Thunder, I just mean if you can afford it, yes, go Thunder with it. But if not, Shock Shell. So let's call it Shock Shell then, I guess. Either it's Shock Shell if your problem is that are multiple mobs coming through here. Um, Make it a laser cannon if your problem is that single but strong mobs are coming through here. Or make it a frost cannon if you kind of want to prevent that they're coming through there. Because, like I said, a frost cannon will help you until the point that they reach the statue. So I am actually a biggest fan of frost cannon there because, well, my OCD does like that it's all zigzaggy here, and I play a tank normally, so I do like CC. Although the shock shell cannon will offer CC as well. I just feel it's a bit lackluster of CC here when they come past here and they get hit by the flame turret, and yeah, then you'd have a single frost cannon and 3 damage dealing cannons. So I prefer this setup. But like I said, this cannon is one I micromanage. This one I change based on needs. If it's single strong mobs, I change it to laser. If it's multiple mobs, I change it to thunder or shock shell. And yeah, if I just kind of want to prevent that they even get through it all, I make it frost. So yeah, this is my setup. I might tweak it in the future, but for now I'm very happy with it, and I'll probably keep changing a bit. So yeah, that's my setup and my explanation, more importantly, why I have this setup. So hopefully you learned something, and if you just want to copy paste this build, feel free to do it. But I hope maybe I inspired you to make your own build, make your own setup if you want to try that, because that's why I wanted to explain why I did the things and not just show you. Because if I had just shown you, like, okay, I have that cannon there, that cannon there, that cannon there, you couldn't really have done anything more than copy it. You could have tried to interpret what I've done. Okay, why did he do that? Why did he do this? And try to guess it. But you probably wouldn't have completely understood why I went for this build. So I hopefully I've explained it quite thoroughly. And yeah, gonna move to the last part now, which will be showcasing how this build works in effect. Actually, I guess I could mention a few things, which cannons I upgrade first and such. Let's pick a different color. Let's do white. The first thing I do is get all the cannons. I know, again, different people do different things. Some people get the middle cannon all the way up in the start. That's not a bad idea. I kind of just like to have it set up already, so if I have another person with me, I can just tell him, please just upgrade the current cannons I have here. Don't start building other cannons on the free spots. So I just like to have it done. So yeah, that's the first thing I do. I build all the cannons. And then, probably not too surprisingly, the first thing I do is upgrade this one. So I'm going to put a 1 in it. This is the first one I upgrade all the way. Secondly, I upgrade this one all the way. And this one is a thunder cannon, so it needs a bit more resources. Reason why I upgrade this one is because, well, it's one of the few. Because, like I said, you have 3 to 5 upgraded cannons you can get. So I always elect to go for those, the strongest cannons. And the third one, that varies a bit. These two always go first. The third one, it's definitely important to have this as a thunder cannon, because it shoots the mobs that come past it. The flame cannon here is important to get, because you need that magic damage. The shock shell cannon here is important to get because it's the first cannon they meet, it's the first damage cannon they meet and such. I prefer to go for this one as the third cannon, simply because you're gonna upgrade it further than the other cannons. After that, again, it becomes a little issue. Maybe I should just mention it right away. I don't upgrade the frost cannons. If I have leftover stuff after all of this, then yeah, I can upgrade them. But I don't know if upgrading them makes them stronger at dealing CC or if they make them stronger at dealing damage. I don't have them there for damage at the first place because they're single target and they don't deal too much damage anyways. Have stronger CC is important, sure, but you have to remember that thunder cannons here both deal damage and has a chance to stun. So I prioritize those. The only cannon I do before those is the flame cannon, simply because it's in the middle. After that I get both the thunder cannons. So yeah, after that, do I do flame or shock? It varies. It varies. So I'm just gonna put 4 here and 4 here, because those really vary, and those will become number 4 and 5 cannon. And like I said, that's usually as far as I get. I don't usually have enough materials to upgrade the rest. And like I said, those are just frost cannons anyway. I don't really care about them. Alright, hopefully I haven't forgotten anything now, because I would hate to have to add anything after spending all this time. I bet we're at 30-40 minutes already with just this part alone. So yeah, this last part will be me showcasing exactly how I use it in a fight. I will most likely be solo laning, so you'll probably see my main. Basically, like I said in the first video, I will basically use him to just buff the middle cannon, or one of the thunder cannons. It varies. Sometimes I have him buffing the first thunder cannon, because I do consider it kind of a better cannon. But the middle flame cannon here is just it's just so nicely put. So yeah, that's my setup. Hopefully, I taught you something, and you can either copy this build, or you can create your own build, or you can improve on this build. That's entirely up to you. But yeah, I'm gonna skip to the last part now. Thank you a lot if you're still. Alrighty, time to get her done. I will show it from start to finish, and I'll explain what I'm doing. During, I will be doing it with my main and my alt, so basically solo laning. So the idea is if this if my building here holds up, for me doing it with 2 characters at a time, you can definitely do it with 2 real characters. Let's see, just gonna assign roles. Just getting set up. Like I said, it's important to have all that established beforehand. Let's see, I'll have red. It's just good to have it sorted out. I'm not at all worried about my lane, honestly. I know I won't wipe. Getting to level 20 is about the other people. Platinum and Cancel should be fine. They're high as fuck gear score and such. Proix and Draken, we'll see, I guess. Yeah. Let's get it done! So I have to do all the roles here. My main will only be here for emotional support. I'll have him buff the main cannon now and then. Let's see. Oop. Got a crystal. The first few waves are so easy that you just, especially if you're a DPS like me, you could say. Let's see, flame. This one shall be shock. As you can see, not at all worried about making it in the start. I'm extremely vigilant with seeing these crystals through. Well, someone took it before me. But I have to focus on the 3 crystals in the start every time. So other people will most likely get them a fair bit of time. Maybe I can get that one though. For fuck's sake, Proix! I'm solo lading! Cocksucker. I don't think I'll get time to build these. If I get too greedy, I end up missing out on the crystals that spawn here, and that's not good. Let's see. Proix is fucking aggressive going for those. That was the wrong one, wasn't it? Yeah. Fucking cancel, greedy horde, just going around taking everything. Nah, he had just turned around, so he won't get that one. Suck it. Alright, so like I said, I like to do my setup first before I upgrade anything. Little crystals here, maybe I should take those. As you can see, my main has a evade tag on him, so he hasn't been used yet. Oops, that's supposed to be frost. Then this is a shock. And like I've said, the last one varies a bit for me. I'm actually gonna go with a shock shell one over frost. If I have a partner here, I go with frost. But being alone, there's one wave at least that's gonna be a little rough for me. Then again, I could just ask for help. There's one wave that's gonna be rough for me. It's the one that has magic mobs that are strong against magic. Cancel. You stay the fuck away from my crystal. I could see him moving towards it on the map. I guess I'll just build frost then. So this will be the setup shown. Like I said, this one is the one cannon I do change somewhat in between. First cannon to upgrade will be this. I didn't have more, I guess. Gonna move my alt main a little closer to the crystal. I'm gonna start using my main now. As you can see how well the flame hits them, because they're coming straight into it. And then when they're walking past it, let's see if we get to see that. I don't think so. But you know, it will turn in a 180-degree angle and then shoot the other way around. So it's always hitting, and it's always hitting as many as it can hit. Because they're either walking straight into it or straight away from it. So that's the only reason I can find to. I'm gonna let them have that one. That's the only reason I can find to buff the flame. You have to fucking take it if you're gonna have it. Like, I was gonna let them have that one, but they didn't go for it, and it was gonna disappear. Oh, and I have to make sure that I keep my stacks up, you know, damage stacks. That's very important when you're gonna be the only DPS here. That extra damage is gonna help a fair bit. So I'm almost more interested in the red ones than the blue ones, because I need those at least a little bit more consistently. Cancel just flew away, so I should get that one at least. Not like their lane needs it so fucking much. They're 15 and 16k Gearskar over there. Alright, now that one's fully upgraded. Yeah, gotta get this red. Gotta keep it stacking. You obviously have to be fast when you do this shit alone. But that's why I am doing it alone, because I'm testing. If I can do it alone here, or I already know the answer. I'm just showcasing it for the video. That if I can do this alone, which I know I can, you can definitely do it with 2 people. The reason I'm using my alt over my main is that he's a DPS, and DPS is the best thing you can have in here. Since, you know, being tank is totally useless. My alt has a lot of crit damage and crit rate, so he does good damage. Oh, I saw one spawn there, but can I get that? Since it's red, I'll actually go for it. Fuck, I'm being a bit greedy now. There's kind of spawning non-stop close to where I am. Maybe if I go for that one and use my main on the flame turret in the meanwhile. Let's activate that. Yeah, I'm a bit greedy right now. I just like to get built a lot. You know, because it does help in the long run. Alright, that was taken care of quite well. Let's see, there's one blue one over there I can go for. Anyone leaking? Yeah. We're doing well so far. Was that wave 8, or are we about to enter wave 8? I keep forgetting how that shit works. Don't go away, don't go. No! I could just tell that thing would disappear. I had a feeling for it. Did I steal it from Cancel? Oop. Double. Oh shit. Boss wave, I didn't see it. I should be there DPSing that. You know, because my setup is mostly towards AoE. So, like I've said in the build video, you want single target against the big guys. You know, because that warrants more damage more than it warrants splash damage. And if you want to micromanage, which I don't have the time for to do alone. Let's see, make that one thunder. And now I'm moving my main to that one because I consider that one stronger. Plus I need magic damage less than I need physical. I'm definitely being greedy. Or you could see it. Oh, double! Oh, did you see that? The blue one spawned while the red one was on it. I've never seen that before. Alright, so the thing to remember is that an upgraded cannon, like to the last tier here, is gonna have longer range than... Oh, they have it... Oh, okay, they have it on a single lane right now. I thought it was weird it didn't show up for me yet. I'm gonna take this... Oh, well, I was gonna say I'll take this opportunity to build a bit, but I guess that won't happen. I'm spreading my crystals a bit between the back cannon here, because like I've said, if they do get through, this is the cannon that will actually be shooting it, and the flame cannon in front of me. I'm on 4 minutes for that. I don't need a red one now. Oh, that one is spawning near me. Maybe I should just take the other one. No, he's going for it. But yeah, the thing to remember is those highest level cannon, they have a bigger range than the rest, so if you're gonna buff it with an alt or someone, or since I'm using my main here, I'm just calling it an alt, it's very useful if you start using it early on, because you have to take the range into consideration. A shock shell cannon has 15 meter range, and I believe the thunder has 25, or at least 20. It might be 20. But yeah, I was splitting my crystals between two cannons here. Kind of upgrading the one that costs the least. See, it still takes 10 there, so I'll use these 3. I'll go for the thunder first though, as the since that... Oi! I saw that when I was about to go. Suck it, cancel! There on TeamSpeak, I actually had to mute myself, you know, because I have to narrate this. So I could go TeamSpeak with them, of course, but I might do that in the end, though. Maybe. Let's see. Let me actually check if they still are on TeamSpeak. Maybe not check now. Yeah, they're still there. I might go there when it's when I don't feel I have anything more to say. But yeah, I'm, as you can see, I'm doing the setup that I've showcased, and it shouldn't be any surprises how I'm intending to use it, because I explained it quite thoroughly. Only thing I can say in here is, look, like you can see how I'm doing it. I try to be as efficient as possible. I keep my eye on the radar. I have to keep my main buffing the main cannon all the time. Alright, I have a bunch of crystals I haven't used. I'll use it after this, I guess. But yeah, as you can see, as soon as the shock shell is able to shoot them, aka once they become targetable, the thunder cannon also shoots. That's why I think it's a bit of a waste to upgrade the furthest in shock shell cannon, because it already has the range. So yeah, you could obviously upgrade it for its damage, and you know that's obviously gonna help. But I just feel it's a bit of waste, because you lose out on the seriously, because you lose out. You don't need a range. You need a damage, but you don't need a range. So I'd rather upgrade cannons that need both the range and the damage. Get it? Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Now this will be a thunder cannon. This one I will keep upgrading to flame. I will not upgrade the frost ones unless I have, you know, tremendous amount of mats. See if I can steal that one. Ooh, it's gonna spawn there too. As you can see, it's enough to just touch it ever so slightly. Oh, this one. I will most likely need help on this one, because this is one where they take way less magical damage than they should. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move my alt to the thunder cannon here. And I'm gonna keep buffing it. Because I think that cannon is gonna deal more damage than my ult. Yeah, my guys are helping me a bit there, you see. I told them beforehand that that's the one wave that's I'm a bit skittish about. See, I could have chosen a shock shell cannon for instead of the frost cannon there, and rather focused on upgrading that one. That's something, you know, about, like I talked about. You can, if you have a partner, you can just micromanage. And I could have changed both these flame cannons to shock shell cannons. It wouldn't cost you anything. So I just don't have the time because I'm moving 2 characters. Alright, start buffing that. But yeah, that's the only wave that's a bit hard for my build here, and since my ult is magic. So if I had a melee teammate, or if I simply had more time to micromanage, I could easily take care of it. As you see, I haven't leaked a single mob in any wave so far. I think I might just jump T-Speak with the others. I don't think there's more to say. I've already explained it so well throughout the rest of the video. So yeah, I'm gonna just jump in with the guys.
Sound microphone activated.
You guys have fun.
Those guys are just leaving a red scale up? Oh, wow. Fucking... fuck
Yeah.
me. I'm gonna steal it.
I don't always have time, cancel.
I know, I tried to take a couple that I knew you didn't get, but... Then you came and you stole mine, and then...
I kind of just have to go for when I have the time, like no matter where they are.
You got one up on your side, Apex.
What?
You have a red one up?
Yeah, but I can't go for that one because I
got
assume
it,
the
then.
blue ones would have spawned here now. Plus, that wasn't the closest one to me. I usually just go for the... Oh, you taking that? Yeah, but I have to
I
collect...
said, hey, I said it was there, and you said no.
Yeah,
you
but
Can you pick up the small one here on the road? Can you pick up that 5 one?
This one?
Yeah, and then come to me and let's feed this at the same time. 3, 2, 1.
It worked?
I gotta get the red, maybe.
Oh, there's one here. Yeah, I mean, if you said you're not going to take it, I'm going to take it, obviously, 'cause I don't want to waste it.
Yeah, because I need to pick up the blue ones first. I need to prioritize those. Sometimes I've been greedy and gone for the ones on the side and end up not getting the 3 blue ones. That's not good. Because I'm most likely not going to get 3 blue ones otherwhere.
You got a red one up on your side.
Yeah, I see it, but again...
I don't need that red one in platinum if you want it.
Blue is about to spawn, so...
I have the same problem. I can't move much when I have these things spawn in the middle.
I'll take it and just reset my time in. Oh, there's a blue one over there.
Yeah, you should take that.
Alright, I got 20 now.
Next wave. After this one, you'll probably be there. 10.
Is this the hard one or is it next? No, this one.
This is hard. Unless you're Canadian, eh? I'll probably take that one.
Alright, let's feed this one again at the same time. 3, 2, 1.
What? Fuck, I didn't get it. I don't have time for that.
You got a blue one area, I think, Apex.
I cannot go now.
I can't get it, yeah. There's a red one on this side if you want a platinum, I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, I could. But I don't think it matters anymore. Nice. Middle, leaking. Or at least close, the other lane.
They got it. I mean, so reset my timer.
Last one.
Yeah.
Wait, this is the last wave. I guess it doesn't matter.
Just feed whatever. You have
I've
anything?
only got 5.
Yeah, I'd say you pick up 5 to get like round number.
There's
again.
another red one over there if you want it.
Nah, I don't have time.
Oh, you missed the blue one. Do you?
Yeah, it doesn't matter at this point anyway.
Boss, so change to single target if you have the time. I mean, AoE is still decent, but it's not probably not gonna hit more than one anyways.
And they almost never have a problem with this wave. The other guys are close to middle.
Ooh.
Oh, the dead body jumping there.
Yeah, he was.
Would it kill it if do those ones one hit it?
I don't know, because we had that run yesterday where it was almost full health in mid, and then one of the boss waves just killed it with a single hit of Thunder Earth or some shit.
Alright, that worked again. Perfect. Well, didn't work perfect, but it worked.
Oh. Alright. Now we go play with our balls.